We are now hearing from the daughter of Gisèle Pelicot. The French woman became an international symbol of strength and bravery last year when she opted for a public trial against her ex-husband. We want to warn you this story contains very disturbing themes. Dominique Pelicot was convicted in December of repeatedly drugging and raping his wife for years and inviting dozens of other men to do the same. Earlier this year, their daughter, Darian, filed a police complaint against her father. It calls for an investigation into whether he drugged and sexually abused her also. Allegations he denies. Darian shares her story in the book, I'll Never Call Him Dad Again, recently released in the U.S. We spoke with Darian about her pain and her push for change.
All the invisible victims.
Darian describes herself as the daughter of both victim and abuser. Your book starts in November of 2020, when you find out your father was arrested for trying to film up women's skirts at a supermarket. Then police discover something unspeakable.
More than 20,000 videos and pictures and photographs, mainly showing my mom naked, being raped by dozen and dozen strangers.
Turning to the story of Gisèle Pelicot now.
De Gisèle Pelicot, victime de viol.
Of a mass rape trial that shocked France.
For nearly a decade, Dominique Pelicot would render his wife unconscious by lacing her food and drinks with drugs, including sleeping pills and anti-anxiety medicine. He would invite men he met online often to their retirement home in Provence, her mother's sanctuary. That's where the rape would last at times for hours. She never had a clue, and those drugs began taking a toll.
She started to lose weight, to lose her hair, and also she had sometimes no memories.
The memory lapses made Pelicot so worried about her mental state that she stopped driving, making her more dependent on her husband. You took her to a neurologist.
She saw 3 different neurologists. We tended to isolate her. And you know, when we had Dominique over the phone, he convinced us that everything was fine.
I've noticed you're calling him Dominique. And of course, the title of your book is I'll Never Call Him Dad Again.
You know, when you discovered that you don't know who raised you, I mean, my dad is dead, so I will never call him dad again.
Late last year, Pelicot received the maximum sentence, 20 years in prison. In all, 51 men were convicted. Gisèle Pelicot opted for a public trial, putting her ordeal and her perpetrators on display. The French press called all of these defendants Monsieur Tout le Monde, Mr. Everyman.
They were aged between 22 and 70 years. They were journalists, they were firefighters, they were, entrepreneurs. She became a symbol of the fight against women's violence. She's part of this generation who you do not show your weaknesses.
Authorities also uncovered 2 deleted photos of Darian semi-nude. Pelicot was convicted of taking indecent photos of his daughter, but nothing more.
I'm sure there's not only 2 pictures of me sedated.
In underwear that is not yours?
It's not mine. And there's another place. Believe me, I don't know where I am.
When you have things like this, something that you're seeing yourself and you have no recollection, you can't make sense of it.
No, it's what we call, the post-traumatic syndrome. I learned what it did to my mom. My whole world collapsed. And the day after, I had to see those pictures. It is
of yourself.
Of myself. It is too much for one brain, for one person.
In February, Darian filed a new police complaint against her father. In the book, you say that you believe you were also a victim of Dominique's sexual acts.
There are some serious facts which weren't really investigated. I want to see the truth. And I will have the truth.
Drug-induced sexual abuse, also known as chemical submission, is on the rise in France and also a problem in the U.S. To fight back, Darian founded M'en dors pas, which means don't put me under, increasing awareness about chemical submission and toxicology testing. Your mother and you have been able to at least as it seems from the outside, lift the shame off of your shoulders and not carry that burden. How do you do that?
Writing this first book was one of the first steps. You need to talk, you need to show to the world that it's not your fault. And that's how we are going to make that change happen.
In a statement to CBS News, a lawyer for Dominique Pelicot said that her client is not surprised by his daughter's accusations that he did more than take photos of her. Accusations his lawyer says prosecutors swept aside at trial because they say there was no objective evidence. That's why Caroline is calling for further investigation.
It was one of the most vile, disgusting, horrific stories because we all covered her mom's trial. I'm so glad that she's writing about it and is telling us about it, because her mom is not speaking about this terrible ordeal.
Her mom is not speaking, and they're processing this differently. Caroline says that for her, she needs to express herself, put this out there, spread awareness, and that's why she's writing this book. It's based on her real diary entries from the time.
Yeah.
And can I ask why the father only got 20 years?
That's the maximum sentence under French law for this specific charge. Actually, the legal definition for rape in France is something that's by coercion, by violence, by force.
Yeah.
That's changing. There's a bill right now working its way through their parliament that would add the concept and the importance of consent to rape.
Seems light for the horrific
He should be
acts.
underneath the jail, honest to God.
Horrific
Yeah,
horrific
horrible,
crimes.
yeah.
The details are horrible.
An incredible interview. Thank you very much, Adriana. Appreciate it.